Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Richard Lewis Show. I'm your host, Richard Lewis. Joining me, as always, is, of course, the producer, Sam. Wait a minute, we didn't play the video, did we?
Nah, I was going to edit in that in post, Smith.
Oh, so should I be laughing at it now? Wow, you face-swapping with Keemstar is like the stuff out of Nightmare. Unfortunately, though, like I did want to talk a little bit about fucking Keemstar at some point on the show, but it's not going to be this one because there's just too much to talk about. There's not enough time really to even address that hot potato. But we'll get into that at some point. But anyway, great video, Sam. It's good. The best part about it is what people don't realize: we haven't done that for the show.
No.
Like I got a message at about 6 a.m. this morning. And Sam's just sent me a video of, look, I face swapped the Keemstar. And I'm saying let's get right into the news.
along with a picture of me with the face of Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, there's that too.
That was happening.
That did happen in the morning of today.
Straight morning, not
even
night.
I was even up. So, your life is a fucking mess.
He's woke up at 5 p.m.
Yeah, you need to fucking sort it out, mate. Jet lag's not even an excuse anymore. You've got it for months. In fact, you had to get into a fucking, routine to get out of a routine to become such a fucking mess. It's like turbo jet lag.
I'm not even correct in any time zone at the moment.
I'm fucking correct at all. Anyway, so this is the Richard Lewis Show. All this week, I've got a break from E-League. I'm off. And what I'm going to try and do is record as many shows as humanly possible in that week. And I'm going to focus on one particular topic, Sam.
Is it?
Yeah, I am, yeah. I'm going to focus on, in particular, gambling and its relation with Counter-Strike. And I'm going to interview lots of guests around that so we get kind of a holistic picture as to what's going on, talk to people at all levels. But also as well, just corruption, I think, in general, because I think there's a lot of stuff that's been going on, once again, in those dark corners. And I say this every fucking time, whenever money starts coming into esports, whenever there's a new hot thing, people just go fucking wild. They become super fucking greedy. And they eventually go about killing the fucking goose that laid the golden egg. Now, that might just be gambling in this case. We know legislature's going to come. We don't know in what form. We don't know what impact it's going to have. But what I'm always worried about is that one time the golden goose is going to be esports. I've seen it time and time again where, going right back to like CPL days, then through CGS. I've been in so many fucking bubbles relating to esports that when they burst, it's really fucking damaging. It's damaging to hundreds of people's livelihoods, hundreds of people's careers, hundreds of people's real lives. We're talking about adults with fucking children. And because of a few fucking greedy assholes wanting to just keep pushing and pushing the boundaries in whatever form it may be, we end up getting fucked collectively. Even people like myself, people like you watching, we've done nothing. We've literally done nothing. And I want to talk about that because, first up, you will notice that there's a lot of these gambling sponsorships going around. I have never said anything bad about gambling. I've always been for it. In fact, I've made jokes saying, hey, the best time to gamble is when you're a kid. And obviously that's fucking tongue in cheek. But the point stands that I think if stuff is labeled correctly and people are of an age where they can responsibly choose, I'm all for that. I am not for a nanny state. All right. And I've always been super wary about coming out. And whenever I see one of these cases where like little Johnny got his mother's fucking credit card, and he's gone online and he's bought like $10,000 worth of skins and then gambled them all away. And what have I done? And the mum's going, oh no, we needed that for your sister's dialysis machine. It's just this fucking spiraling nightmare of debt-related shit. I've always said, well, that's a parental failing. And I stand by that. But here's the fucking thing. At what point are we going to say that there's a fucking responsibility on everybody to be doing things honestly, ethically, for things to be regulated to the letter of the fucking law? And as we're going to talk about a lot on this show, just telling the fucking truth. There is so much deception. There is so much obfuscation going on. I don't believe anybody can have personal responsibility because nobody knows who owns what the costs are. Nobody knows. Literally, it's all bullshit. It's lies after lies after lies. And it makes somebody like myself, who's a big believer in personal responsibility and personal accountability, have to come out and question that and adopt a contrary stance and say, well, you know what? If everyone's going to fucking lie and everyone's going to take advantage of the fact that there is no regulation and everyone's going to be fucking greedy, then fuck it. Somebody's gonna have to step in. Now is the time for Big Brother. Now is the time for the nanny state, because everyone's getting fucking ripped off left, right, and center. While an elite few, the people that had the credit, had the money up front to create businesses designed to take advantage of this brave new frontier that is completely unregulated, they're gonna walk away with millions. And what's fucked up is, even if we get the legislature in now, they're gonna keep all those millions. And people are going to say, oh, well, we took advantage of a loophole. We did this. Fuck that. This is unethical bullshit. When you start lying to people, when you start putting services out there that and you advertise them completely contrary to what they are, when you hide ownership, when you put out videos faking results, this is bullshit and it's got to be fucking stopped. So, again, don't worry, Sam. I haven't forgot about the plug. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
It's very clever. You're gonna like this. So, I've had offers from gambling websites. That was the big new brave frontier. They came in, and like every other sponsor that comes into the fucking scene, here's what they want to buy. All right, they want to buy two things. They want to buy exposure and they want to buy credibility. Now, exposure is incredibly obvious why you would buy exposure. The more eyeballs on your product, the more people will likely use your product. That is advertising 101. That's why you take out billboards over fucking busy highways. It's why you put trailers for other films in cinemas. And, it's just common sense. You put adverts on television and you pay more for peak time, prime time, than you do for 4 in the fucking morning. That's just common sense. More eyeballs, more return. And it works like that in everything that we do. The other thing, credibility. Why would you need to buy credibility if your product is legit and it's righteous? Well, okay, again, this is quite common in advertising. You get an athlete, or a well-known luminary, sometimes, a politician I've even seen, although that hardly happens, but it's disgusting when it does. But you get somebody with some form of credibility and status, and you get them to come out and say, I endorse this product. This product does what it says. This product is safe. This product is revolutionary. Whatever it is, whatever the angle is, that individual touts that product and basically says to people, if you like me, and you like my brand, and you're a believer in me, then you will also believe in this product. You will want to use this product. You will buy this product. And it can be direct. It can be something like Wayne Rooney, right? And a young English street rat that's out there kicking a ball, like Wayne Rooney, might want to come up. And if I drink Lucozade isotonic, which, by the way, has never touched Wayne Rooney's lips, if it's not a fucking bag of pork scratchings and a pint of bitter, I don't even, and a Lambert and Butler fag, I don't even know what's going in there. But let's just pretend for a second Wayne Rooney looks after himself. Then obviously kids say, well, if I drink Lucozade isotonic when I'm training, I'll train harder. I can be the next Wayne Rooney. So you've got that, you've got that direct, sorry, not tangential. You've got a direct link. It makes sense. Then you have stuff that's a bit more tangential, like George Foreman. All right. Now, George Foreman, yeah, he's a boxer. Why do we need his name on a grill? Okay, well, it's a lean, mean, fat grilling machine. Isn't George Foreman really fat? Oh, yeah. But he said that he got in shape and lost weight as a result. And And then, okay, everyone buys that product. And hey, it's laughable George Foreman. We all love George Foreman. So these are fucking very basic fucking concepts. But this is where it takes on a more shadowy area. And that is when we have these emerging businesses, these emerging developing regions of profit and marketing, where what we do is we hire people who are credible because actually we want to dupe people. We want to con people into thinking that these businesses are legitimate, are safe. All right. We bring people on board where it's like, hey, this guy is trustworthy, so there is no way this service can't be trustworthy. And this has happened time and time and time again. And it especially happens in esports because there's no governing body, because there's no regulation, because there's no way to get out from it. You bring everybody on board who's even vaguely fucking credible in the space, and then everyone goes, hey, well, it can't be bad. Richard Lewis wouldn't lie. Right? Richard Lewis is the fucking guy who goes out there and breaks all this shady shit. No way he'd be involved in shady shit. Right? But then it turns out, guess what? It's shady shit. And I'm getting paid a bunch of money to basically sell out my ethical conscience. That is what you are being paid for. And there's a very key way to fucking identify businesses that are doing that. They pay too much fucking money. Because they know what they're buying. It's a Faustian pact. They buy your fucking soul. They pay over the odds because they know you will be a little bit like, oh, I don't want to do this. It feels a bit dodgy. Will 50,000 do it? So, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That everybody has a fucking price. It's very rare that somebody fucking doesn't. And these gambling companies have come into esports with that ethos, and they have exploited that to the fullest. Keep in mind, people in esports do not make money. I don't make money. You don't make money. No one makes money doing what we're doing. All of this content doesn't fucking pay a dime. All right, it doesn't make me any money whatsoever. My YouTube money doesn't even cover one night's bar tab. It is a pittance. All right, my years of writing journalism basically kept the fucking lights on, food in the cupboard up until very fucking recently. And as everybody knows, I've been saying since about 2013 onwards, yeah, I think I'm going to have to sell out. I'm getting old. I need to look after myself. I'm conscious of what I'm doing here, okay? So with all of that fucking said, these companies have come in and they've gone to people who are making money and they've said, do you want to make money? Life-changing amounts of money. We remember the CSGO Diamond scandal, all right, with Mo, and we saw how much he was leaving on the fucking table by not working with them. It was something like $50,000 a month, right? And it would have only grown. It would have only got bigger because it was a percentage. Their monthly turnover was gigantic, and they're effectively a startup. They're a new company. So why is it that these gambling companies are paying so much? Because obviously they're going to make that return. So that's point one. They've got it to spend. But they know that they can come in and just get people and just fucking take the fucking money and shut the fuck up and lie and reach out and say to people, hey, this is fine. This is fine. The same people, by the way, who are recording fake response videos that are mysteriously, I just won. I went big. You know, the people who are receiving skins on the quiet to gamble with, these are the same people that are basically enticing gamblers to the website, be them underage or not, but they are lying. And they have no conscience about it because the money is just eroding that. Now, I have a degree of sympathy. I have a degree of sympathy because I know what it's like to make no fucking money. I know how dark it is. I know how fucking bleak it is. I have literally been sat there in a spare bedroom in my married friend's house, right? Overhearing conversations of my fucking friend's new wife. They're divorced now, of course. I fucking hammered the nail in that coffin, right? Saying, when is he gonna leave? And having £40 a month disposable income to spend on fun, which was drinking cheap white cider and wondering why I hadn't hung myself. I have been there. I know what it's like. It's not good. To have no money, it is not good. But equally, there is this trend for YouTubers who are making a decision to take a job, to put themselves in a position where they make a living out of something that is a risk, that may not pay dividends. And all I see time and time again are these people taking endorsements from unethical companies, from companies that do not do what they say, that are just throwing money away to buy their credibility. And I tell you, you sell yourselves way too cheap, even if they are paying the exorbitant amounts that these gambling companies are. Because trust me, when this comes down, people are going to remember who went out there and who deceived them. People are going to remember who lied and who didn't. People are going to remember who took the money and said nothing and who didn't. And that's a stain, that's a stink you can't wash off. People will remember it. So I urge anybody right now, say what you will about Mo, at least he fucking just put his filth out there into the public fucking domain. We all know what happened. We all know it was bullshit. And now we can safely deduce that several of the companies are operating in that way. And I urge anybody, if you're watching this video and you are one of those YouTubers, or you are a player or a personality and you have a sponsorship of this nature, now is the time to seriously consider what you are doing, what you are standing for. Even if you think the company is ethical, even if you see no reason to turn it down, do some homework, do some research. Ask them, do we do any of these things? Do we practice in this way? Do we operate in this manner? What is the return? Do you have any age verification checks? Ask all the questions you didn't ask when the bags of money were getting delivered to your doorstep. Ask them now, because honestly, it's all coming down anyway. Regulation is coming in anyway. And there'll be something else that's unethical, and something else that doesn't want you to ask questions, and something else that's going to pay just as much, if not more. That's how it works. We're a growing business. We're a growing industry. But you need to be able to say, I was on the right side on this, and I asked the questions. And again, I am practicing what I preach here, and I can prove it. And I've told this story multiple times. When fantasy betting was the big thing, and it was Alpha Draft and FanDuel and DraftKings, and they were coming in to esports and throwing money left, right, and center because they wanted to dominate this emerging space. I did a show for Alpha Draft. It was called By the Numbers. I did it with Thorin. But you will notice my agreement with them was very different to Thorin's. Thorin, I don't know if I would describe him as a journalist per se. I think Thorin is a historian. I think he is at his best when he is thought of as such. He writes incredible opinion pieces. He writes incredible historical analysis. He makes thoughtful and insightful videos about esports and beyond. But I do not know if I would necessarily consider him a journalist in the sense that he goes out there and breaks stories, because he doesn't really. This is somebody that doesn't really do that, hasn't done that for years. This is somebody that basically isn't looking to air any dirty laundry. So there are no ethical concerns. So that's why he had Alpha Draft, all these crazy plugs at the beginning of his videos, and I didn't. Equally, our contracts were not the same. Mine was shorter. Mine had a clause in it, and I held up negotiations. Alpha Draft didn't even want me initially because of my reputation. I had a clause put into the contract that if any time anything dodgy was done by Alpha Draft, I was allowed to report about it, and the contract was terminated under mutual agreement that day. It stalled negotiations. I could have lost the deal, but I did it. I did it because that was the only way in good conscience that I could realistically do that. Now, I've probably at various points been guilty of some of the things I'm talking about here. I don't want to make it look like I'm motherfucking Teresa, who, by the way, was infinitely more corrupt than even some of these gambling websites. But there will be points in my life where I don't even know where the money's coming from. When I've worked for media companies, when I've took salaries from smaller companies, the money is there. It goes into my bank account. I mean, when I worked at Amiga Sector, which was a LAN cafe owned by Kazakhstani people, I was getting paid at one point money out of a safe. You know, it wasn't entirely fucking legit, I'm sure. And I have no idea where that money was coming from, and I got told stuff like some of the guys involved were on Interpol for Interpol's wanted list for fucking financial crimes. It's gonna happen to someone at some point in esports. It's what you do when you find out. And that's why I will not condemn everybody unilaterally, but people need to start asking questions. Now, this all of this fantasy betting stuff, why isn't it there anymore? Why is Alpha Draft and FanDuel and DraftKings and all that gone away? Guess what? There was a bunch of fucking corrupt bullshit going on. I won't fucking bore you with the details because that's enough to fill an entire show, but you can go out and Google it. And as a result, it got ruled as not a game of skill anymore, which was always its little caveat that meant you were allowed to have it. It got ruled to be gambling, plain and fucking simple, because people were rigging the fucking games, rigging the outcomes, and being greedy as fuck. Guess fucking what? Guess what? History's repeating itself. So be sure that you take ethical plugs and ethical sponsors. I've said it for years. It's the only way this business can get to a sustainable place. If it's boom and bust, we're going to go backwards and forwards and backwards again repeatedly. So, sponsor for the show, Sam. Because obviously, you know, money's evil and I'm a dirty socialist commie pinko. Recording this on the fucking 4th of July, no less. audibletrial.com/RL show. If you go there and sign up for a free trial of Audible, I think they haven't done anything unethical.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they just make talking books. Talking books are people who like to hear.
You're just going to keep calling them talking books. When you first said that, I thought you were just being a retard for laughs. Do you actually think they're called talking books?
Talking books?
Audio books.
Talking books. You've never heard the phrase talking books?
No, talking books is from like Alice in Wonderland or something.
No, it's not, mate. Talking books, for example, for, you know, blind people. The books talk to them. You can call them audiobooks. I prefer talking books. They are books that talk. Okay?
Alright.
So you can get your talking book.
That just sounds so retarded.
Look, do you want to do this plug or not, Sam?
Yeah, get the money.
Right. Okay, get that money. So just sign up to a free trial there. I don't think there's any commitment. It's like you download one book.
You get a free
one
book.
talking book. You download one book. You let it talk to you. Okay, you download the book. The book talks to you. You listen to what it has to say. You can talk back if you want. You don't have to. And then after 30 days, you just cancel and you get some money.
I don't even think you have to
I get some money.
give a credit card.
Well, you get some money. It's really for you.
I don't think you actually have to give a credit card, from what I remember. So
Well, we need to be.
You don't even have to cancel.
Yeah, we've got to be completely ethical.
Any book suggestions, mate? They have got pretty much every book you could probably suggest. Anything off the top of your head?
Okay, well, I would certainly. One of my favorite talking books, not because it was good or anything, but it's just fun memories. It was On the Road, but it was read by David Carradine, who is obviously Bill from Kill Bill, but before that he was Kane in Kung Fu. So that's good, and obviously
there we go. Yeah, that's on there actually.
And he died in his late 60s, I think it was. He died because of erotic asphyxiation.
There you go.
In a cupboard in a hotel with a belt round his neck, and they found him like that, but wanking and dead.
Wanking and dead.
So I mean, there's a good reason, you know. That's what I think about when I hear him reading On the Road. I think, you know, you died wanking in a closet.
If you want to listen to the guy who died wanking in a closet, you can get it.
But another thing, it's a great talking book also, and it's a bit mainstream and not an obscure choice. There's Frank Herbert's Dune, classic sci-fi. Or I have a copy of William Burroughs reading his own masterpiece work, Naked Lunch, which is my favorite novel of all time.
There you go.
So there you go. There's some book recommendations. So anyway, should we get into the meat of it?
Yeah.
Or as you said earlier, let's get right into the news.
Into the cheese.
Let's get right into the cheese. So I've obviously, as you can see, I've kept myself out of this whole gambling thing for a while because as I said, I honestly didn't realize the depth to which people were going to in order to just make money off this brave new frontier, this unchecked, unregulated industry. I had no idea people were willing to go to these unethical lengths just to make some money, and that's a bit naive of me. I should know better out of all people, but I just presumed it was just like, you don't need to cheat anyone. You don't need to lie and misrepresent your product. It's gambling. You know, it's going to make you money anyway. The house always fucking wins. Why do we need to lie? Just encourage people to use your service over someone else's service and you've won. There's no need to lie. It's gambling. The house wins. So a guy called Honor the Call got in touch with me. And basically, he started telling me that he had proof of a website called CSGO Lotto, where there was individuals who were known streamers, and in particular, as everyone will know by now, because unfortunately I couldn't break this story. I was still working on E-League when Honor the Call sent me all of this, and it's been an incredibly punishing schedule. And this is like the first week off I've actually had since it started, and I don't really get days off through the week. I get Sunday, which is just non-day, right? You don't do anything. So he sent me in, and of course, it's a Syndicate and T Martin. T Martin 2, that they were creating these videos where they were talking about CSGO Lotto, and they were winning on CSGO Lotto and winning big. And what Honor the Call had found by looking at the Articles of Incorporation, which we may be able to bring up for you now. I'll let Sam handle that while I'm just talking away. That actually these people were the registered owners of this site, which is, to describe this as a conflict of interest is kind of like describing, I don't know, where do I go with this? How extreme do I go with this analogy? I can't be too extreme these days, can I? It's kind of like describing the Lockerbie bombing as my bad. Yeah, it's beyond a conflict of interest. It is, if you're gonna advertise something, advertise it by all means. Say, this is our site. We own this site. We would like you to use it. If you like our streams and you like our personalities, please support our other business. That is it. That is all you need to do. These people have huge followings. There's some very popular Call of Duty personalities. They absolutely didn't have to choose to do what they did. And why they did what they did is just about greed, pure and simple. And also lack of accountability. Because here's one thing I will say. People don't want to be accountable for these gambling sites. Not just because people aren't sure of the legality. There's a perception issue. How can I maintain this fun family, one of the guys image? Hey, let's all, we're playing games together. Thanks for watching me. And I'm dialing everything down. And I'm acting almost like a children's entertainer. How can I maintain that front if I simultaneously own the gambling website I'm telling you to use? And on top of that, nobody wants the accountability of what happens when somebody loses. What happens if somebody thinks something unethical has happened? They don't want that brought to their doorstep. They don't want that tarnishing their image. So they hide it. They obfuscate it. And unfortunately for them, Honor the Call was able to find the Articles of Incorporation, which absolutely prove there is no disputing this at all. They've even had to come out and accept that they do own the website. And they have given these mealy-mouthed excuses saying it was not a secret. Well, there was a video, wasn't there, Sam?
Indeed.
So, and it's quite funny because since all of this has become public, And primarily, it's become public because the great YouTubers, H3H3 Productions, have made a video about this. And obviously, they have a huge platform. And let me tell you, I couldn't be happier that it was them picking it up, actually. Because if you want to talk about ethical people, people with integrity, H3H3 Productions absolutely exemplify that. H3H3 Productions have done, lots of stuff. I mean, like, they poke harmless fun at a few people on YouTube. They generally try to involve them in the joke. They absolutely try and stay out of drama unless it's absolutely vitally important to what they see as the health of the YouTube community. They've also, for example, when they recently received some legal action, they did somebody set up a Kickstarter for them. They received a lot of money in excess of what their legal funds would have been. So they took that money and they put it into a slush fund for other YouTubers that receive unfair legal action against them. That's how ethical these people are. So I got nothing but respect for them. And I'm really, really happy that they picked up on this. And they described it as the shadiest shit they have ever seen. And when you consider just how how ridiculous YouTube and esports and gaming and all that stuff is in general, that's terrifying. So this is the video T. Martin did. And I'll just let you play this. You tell me,
now, what I was
watching this video,
earlier,
guys, if this sounds like they aren't trying to keep their ownership a secret.
The video, I've been starting to bet a little bit more. Like Brock, like obviously you guys know he loves betting. He's posted a ton of betting videos on his channel and stuff. And he's been hitting me up. And we found this new site called CSGO Lotto. So I'll link it down in the description if you guys want to check it out. But we were betting on it today, and I won a pot of like $69 or something like that. So it was a pretty small pot, but it was like the coolest feeling ever. And I ended up like following them on Twitter and stuff, and they hit me up, and they're talking to me about potentially doing like a skin sponsorship. Like they'll give me skins to be able to bet on the site and stuff. And I've been like considering doing it. Like I think that'd be kind of cool. Would you guys like to see like betting streams and betting videos? I feel like that would be really awesome. Like I know I would really enjoy it. I don't know if you guys would like videos like that. So let me know, what you guys think of that. If you guys would like to see something like that for me.
Well, it's very, very important to watch it to the end.
Okay.
I don't really want to bet like my really good things here, but if I was able to get like a little sponsorship and get some skins thrown my way every month and be able to bet with those, I think that'd be pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think. If that's something you guys want to see, I'd definitely be willing to do that. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
All right. Okay. We're done with.
Great.
We made it.
So, Sam, can I ask your opinion as a layperson?
Sure.
Does that sound to you like they are being open about their ownership of the site?
Clearly not.
Well, why do you say clearly, Sam?
He said he found the sites, and I followed them on Twitter, and who have you been talking to? We've been talking about setting up a sponsorship. What, you've just been talking to yourself? Hey, Trevor, do you want some skins? Why, Trevor? I'd take some skins.
Have you seen the film Fight Club?
Yeah.
Is there any in your professional experience? Is there any chance that this person might, after suffering a severe depression or head injury, that they may be laboring under the delusion that they were talking to somebody else who then later turned out to be themselves?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, I ask you, Sam Davies, are you a trained medical expert or indeed psychologist/psychiatrist?
Nah.
Well, the defence rests, Your Honour. I think you'll find T. Martin completely innocent of all wrongdoing.
Or as I know him, Tyler Durden.
Exactly. The T stands for Tyler. So, I mean, quite clearly, they've attempted to deceive their audience. That is the deception I'm talking about in my impassioned opening of this show. This is the deception that why don't they just come out and just say, look, we've been gambling a lot lately, so we wanted to get a piece of the action. Don Calzone wants a pizza of the action. Why don't they fucking just come out and say, we want a slice. Everyone else is getting rich. We thought, why the fuck not? And we want you to use ours. And here's us using ours.
He doesn't even have to say it that in depth. Just feel like, oh look, he has right. All I'm saying is he hasn't even got to go into the explicit detail that I'm doing this for money. All he has to say is, hey, this is a site I've started. Check it out. Like all he has to after the words is, I own the site, and then I don't care really what else he says. Even if he says all the other sites are dog shit, mine's the only good one. Whatever, as long as everyone knows you own the site.
So again, let me also tell you why this is particularly bad for children. Because again, as I said right at the top of the show, I've been flippant about this. I've made jokes about it. I've said, hey, if you only have pocket money to worry about, gambling, it's the best time to gamble. It's not like when you're an adult, when you gamble, you lose your house. When you're a kid, you just lose your pocket money. Where, and that's it. It's all over, right? Like if you lose big as an adult and you gamble, you just slip through the cracks of sight. And that's a bit, all right? That's me being funny. That's me telling jokes. That's the kind of thing I would tell if I was on stage after 10 fucking Jägermeisters. That's got nothing to do with actual reality. So what I will say is this, that you have to advertise your products in a responsible way. You know why McDonald's can't just go like, whoopee, 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 tell your parents to eat the Happy Meal, and if they don't give you the Happy Meal, cry. There's a reason they can't do that. Because it ain't fucking responsible. First of all, you're telling kids that, eat a Happy Meal every day and you grow up big and strong. Like Hulk Hogan or someone more contemporary who's strong. John Cena, there you go, John Cena, I'm him. You grow up big and strong like John Cena, he eats McDonald's every day, right? You can't do that because it's a fucking lie, And it's not that I have anything against McDonald's, right? And you can eat McDonald's if you want to eat McDonald's, but don't tell kids to eat it every fucking day and cry and stamp their feet if they don't get a fucking Happy Meal. It's not responsible, is it? And you're giving an unreal expectation towards a child about the long-term health impacts, which is something they're too young to understand anyway, and about appropriate diet, appropriate behavior. It's just all kinds of wrong. They do not do it. You do not market directly to children. They did this with a bunch of stuff. Alco Pops. You remember Alco Pops, Sam?
Yeah.
Remember Alco Pops?
Yeah.
We went through a phase in the UK. This is for all non-UK people. Went through a phase in the UK where for some reason everyone turned into a pussy and couldn't handle real alcohol. I don't know what happened. One minute we're all just sipping whiskey and beer and we're all like, well, this tastes like shit, but fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound. Whoop, there goes my liver. Whoop, just shit myself. We're all having a good time, right? And then somebody went, I'm not going to do this anymore. And we're just like, what's up with you, pussy? Drink your whiskey and beer. Nah, I'm out. This is garbage, mate. I don't want to shit myself anymore, and it tastes horrible. And I'm going to make something that, at least if I do shit myself, I'm going to enjoy getting to that stage. And then just everything was just hooch. Remember hooch?
Yeah, they came back, actually. They started selling hooch again.
Back?
Yeah. Everyone keeps drinking. Well, I say, last time I was out in
Last time I was at the park.
Yeah.
Last time I was down Margam.
All the boys are on the hooch, like hooch and the Copperbergs are fucking rampant.
Okay. What else was there? WKD, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm Keith
classic.
Lemon.
VK.
WKD Blue, yeah, VK. All of these, they did just have alcoholic iron brew, I think, at one point as well. So basically, what they did is they blurred the lines between children's drinks and alcoholic beverages. What could possibly go wrong, you might say? Well, turns out that kids who didn't want to drink the hard liquor that tasted gross, this stuff tasted like fucking candy, and you would drink it, and it's just full Tasmanian devil. Like, just fucking... Because it's all colours and preservatives and sweet stuff, and it's fucking alcohol and not designed for kids at all. And they used to advertise it like, all fun. All the advertisements were all comedy based, like having a good time, like no consequences for alcohol abuse. This is the consequence for fucking alcohol abuse right here. You end up with a doughy, flabby midsection of a mother of four. All your hair drops out. It's not good. Like, I mean, those things might not be true, but whatever. The point is, they were advertising it irresponsibly. So a government regulatory body came in and said, I don't like the idea of giving the kids the impression that if the drink tastes like lemonade, it's safe to drink, just like lemonade. And as it happens now, thanks to childhood obesity, we're not even saying lemonade's safe to drink anymore. Like, no, you can't have no more of that for you, Sam. You're out of fucking control.
That's why I left Wales.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're popping buttons on your fucking shirt.
Joshy Rav style.
Time to take that away from you. No more popping buttons. So you have to advertise responsibly to your fucking audience. So again, I'm going to read back. I've got a transcription of that video we just watched here. We found this new site called CSGO Lotto. So I'll link it down in the description if you guys want to check it out. We were betting on it today, and I won a pot of like $69 or something like that. So it was a pretty small pot, but it was like the coolest feeling ever. I ended up following them on Twitter and stuff, and they hit me up, and they're talking to me about potentially doing like a skin sponsorship. So again, let's just rewind. It was like the coolest feeling ever. The coolest feeling ever. So, you know, this is like menthol cigarettes. You know, smoke them, kids. It's the coolest feeling ever. Ooh, a crippling addiction. Mommy, I feel all grown up now. Can I have a gambling addiction and be cool? Like, come on. Like, what the fuck is this shit? You just don't need to say that. You know you've got a young audience. You know you've got a young audience. You are a fucking YouTuber. Kids don't watch TV. They watch you. They watch YouTube. YouTubers need to get it in their head that even with the age restriction on, you are basically glorified children's entertainers. That is what you fucking are, whether you like it or not. You might go, yeah, but I'm adult. Look at me. I'm fucking gross score. Yeah, I'm in a nightclub.
Banter, lads, banter.
Banter. That Brexit's a good idea for the banter, right? You might fucking think you're like street or edgy. You're a fucking YouTuber. You're a kids entertainer. Suck it the fuck up. I try and be as disgusting as possible to drive away that young hip audience. I call them talking books. I call the cinema the pictures. I'm like Johnny Coffey at the end of the Green Mile. Ain't never seen me no flicker show. Right? So you can't fucking advertise it that way. You got to know your fucking audience and that you know they're impressionable. So don't tell them that shit. It doesn't even fucking end there, of course. Of course it doesn't end there. Already an hour into a show. Doesn't end there. So there's more. There's more. This T. Martin guy responded. And this is what fucks me off, right? Like, you have been caught red fucking handed. Red-handed. This guy's been deleting his videos. You can find him using the Wayback Machine. This guy is advertising him in a completely irresponsible way. He's talking about like, they call it how to win $13,000. You know, not how to possibly win $13,000. Not how to risk your entire inventory. You know, just we win $13,000. Oh, of course you win $13,000. Do you own the site? All right. Can you fake the outcome of the results? Oh, you can. How interesting. What if I don't own a fucking gambling website? How do I win $13,000? How do I win $13,000? What, I just have to play the odds? And the odds are statistically so far fucking removed that the chances of me winning are like infinitely small, next to zero. And the more people who play, come the fuck on. Like, how to win $13,000? So, and again, the fact that all these outcomes are fucking rigged, and because they've got that potential to do it. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. Hell of a coincidence, isn't it? That we'll just turn the camera on. Bloody hell, I won $13,000. Bloody hell! The reactions are so fucking bad in these videos. I have seen more convincing dialogue in porn movies. Yeah, that feels great. Like, yeah, it's about as fucking plausible as that. Can you spit in my face now? I'm having such a good time. That's how fucking plausible it is.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You're revealing your fucking gross fetishes slowly, mate.
No.
Spit in my face.
Might need to edit that bit out the show.
That's staying in.
So, anyway, you know, it's fucking, the reaction's terrible. But okay, even if we give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Still a massive conflict of interest. Now, this T. Martin guy goes on and does a YouTube interview with Scarce, again, big YouTuber, who does the news, doing really well. A lot of people have described him as Keemstar without the controversy. That's putting it nicely. So check him out. But he said in this interview, T. Martin, I do own the site now. I didn't back then. At that point, it was a feeler video to see if my viewers would enjoy that type of content or whether or not I should invest in the business. Now, Sam, We have the articles of incorporation, as does
Indeed.
the mainstream press, as does H3H3 Productions. The articles of incorporation show that he registered the fucking company. There was never a point where Trevor Martin didn't own the fucking company. So why is he trying to distance himself from ownership? Why is he trying to say, oh, I own it now, but I didn't then, when he absolutely fucking did? Since it existed as an entity, he has always owned it. This is irrefutable. Why is he lying, Sam?
I don't know. Same reason someone who gets caught in a crime lies in court, maybe.
Yeah, but here's the thing, all right? This isn't, we saw somebody fitting your description, leaving the scene of the crime at 10 o'clock when you don't have an alibi. This is, yeah, we've just got CCTV footage of you doing it, and you signed your name into the corpse with a knife, and you even confessed to it, and now you're saying that you didn't really do it. It's so overwhelmingly, you know, what did somebody with the exact same name register? I don't understand what he's going for here. As soon as he knows that the articles of incorporation are out, and he's the incorporator, there is no grounds to pretend that you do not fucking own this, and always have. So this is unbelievable. I gotta add as well. He subsequently deleted this, but there was a response he made on Twitlonger, which I'll let you bring it up. I'm just going to scroll and get it now. And he called it regarding Trevor Martin and CSGO. Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong thing. We're coming to that in a second. My bad. Definitely don't cut that out either. Here it is. Yeah, Twitlonger. So, this didn't have a title and was deleted. And it said, response to the H3 vid. Always had a lot of respect for Ethan. Never seen a one-sided video from him. Weirdly enough, he never reached out to Tom or I. It's not weird, mate. First of all, you're bang of fucking rights. Second of all, every time you have had a platform to answer these allegations, you fucking lied. Why would I, if I was Ethan or anybody else, waste my fucking time to give you a platform that makes me look like a fucking asshole because you will not tell the fucking truth? And again, keep in mind that it's a courtesy. It might be best practice, right? At best. But it's certainly not something you absolutely have to do. H3 are simply shining a light on this. They're simply giving it a platform so more and more people can see what these guys did. I don't see why they have an obligation to reach out to them and ask if they want to be in the video. And equally, you have been reached out to by other people. You lied about it when it first came out. You've deleted God knows how many tweets about this. You've deleted this Twitlonger I'm fucking referring to. Why the fuck would anybody waste their time when everything that comes tumbling out of your mouth is a fucking turd? Why would anybody bother? So then he said, just very odd not to see both sides of the field portrayed. Sam, again, I'm gonna borrow you here. You've got a. Would you describe yourself as a man with a vivid imagination?
Sure.
Can you tell me what the other side of the field could be, where it would portray this as not a massive conflict of interest?
There was another man called Trevor Martin who lives at my address that I don't know, who registered this company. And he asked me if I wanted to have sponsorship with it, so I did.
So I don't see the benefit in having both sides, ultimately, Sam, because that's patently absurd. I can't see another side to this beyond what we've seen. He then goes on, I've admitted to wishing I was more upfront about owning the site. It was always public info, wasn't, but I was never very outspoken about it. You deliberately lied.
Never spoken
yeah,
about it.
yeah. I was never very outspoken about it. You deliberately obfuscated the fact that you own this site. I mean, apples and oranges. Potato, potato, right? My idea was to keep business business while the focus of YouTube was simply making entertaining content. And again, this is a fucking lie. What you did was you wanted to take your entertaining content for which you were known, for which you had a following, and you wanted to use that as an advertising platform for your business. To try and imply that you wanted to keep business business and content content when you own the business you're advertising on your content is fucking retarded. There is no logic to this. I know. I wanted to keep the milk and the tea separate when I poured it in there and stirred it round with a spoon, and then drank the tea, and it was very nice. Not my strongest analogy.
And not your best with.
But you mix the two, and then say I wanted to keep them separate. What the fuck you want about? I wanted to keep business business. How about this? If you want to keep business business, own your business. And don't advertise it on your fucking content. And specifically, don't pretend you don't know where the business is and where it's come from. Yeah, I've just discovered this new website that I registered. It's incredible. I discovered it in my inbox of my email account saying, congratulations on registering your new fucking business. Obviously, that was misleading to viewers. Next sentence. And something I very much regret. Don't think you do regret it, really. Because right now
he does for being God.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you regret the court bit, but I was misleading to viewers and something I very much regret. Still is being misleading. Still is being misleading to people. Is still lying about his involvement. Is still trying to cover it up. Is still deleting videos. Is still deleting tweets. I very much regret it, but I'm going to continue behaving like that. I've never been perfect. And again, we're not talking about perfect. You see, there's a spectrum here. There's a pretty broad spectrum. And over here you have perfection. And I don't know who you get up here, because the poster boys for perfection, Gandhi, massive racist, hypocrite, pretty good guy, but you know, bit of a racist, bit of a hypocrite. Jesus, son of God, still kind of did some fucked up shit to show that they're a without sin, and wasn't perfect, especially when it came to picking his friends, because he got Judased, right? So still pretty good, but not perfect. So I don't even know who is perfect, and I'm pretty sure no one thought that where Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Jesus and all these other people have fallen short. I'm pretty sure nobody thought T. Martin's up there with them, though. He's right up there with them. Love that T. Martin. Cool guy. Easily could be perfect if you think about it. No one ever said that. So that's your perfection cluster up here. That's that in. And down here we've got registering a business which you control, lying about the outcomes of that business's function to deceive your audience, which is of a young age, to make money. He's not down there with like fucking people who poison water supplies or anything. But he's pretty fucking bad. Like perfect, not an issue. It was never going to come up. Nobody was ever going to nominate him for world's most perfect man. So it's a fucking ridiculous thing to say. Hey, I've never been perfect. Yeah, we get that, mate. We do get that. What we don't want you to do is keep scamming those people that trust you, scamming them kids, etc. So, and I 100% own up to that mistake. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. Hasn't owned up to shit. Still lying, in fact. That being said, everything we've done up until this point has been legal. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that a wonderful thing? I put it this way. If I was somebody that liked T. Martin's content, watched his stream, became persuaded by his stream to use CSGO Lotto and to go on there, and I lost money, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong because I don't really understand it, but he's winning $13,000 and I like him and I want to be like him. So I'm going to keep using his service. When I found out that it was all one big fucking elaborate con, it was all a fucking ruse designed to hoover the money out of my pocket and put it in his, I don't know if it comforts me very much when he turns around and says, it's all legal though, mate.
Tax fraud can be legal as well as stuff called loopholes. Doesn't make it the best thing to do.
So, and they said the number one priority of ours was to keep things legal. And they followed that up by saying the day it becomes illegal is the day we cease activity. So, the number one priority of T. Martin wasn't his fans, wasn't to do right by his fans, wasn't to do right by the young, impressionable audience that watch his content. It was to just be legal and to make money. Yeah, and to make money doing this kind of legal thing until it becomes illegal, which is coming any day soon. And then we're just going to stop doing it. And we're just going to laugh. And we're going to laugh at all the people we fleeced. And that was our number one priority, to admit that. How repulsive is that? Like, that is, like, absolutely repellent. Like, the number one priority wasn't making sure we were honest and open and transparent. Our number one priority wasn't making sure that nobody below a certain age was targeted or misled. Our number one priority was staying within the boundaries of the law. And as we know, just because something is fucking legal doesn't make it fucking ethical. So, and then he just ends with, either way, love you guys and the support. If you're upset with me, I understand. Thanks, dudes. Thanks, dudes.
Drop the mic, take the money, see ya.
Thanks, dudes. I fucking robbed your blind.
Thanks, dudes.
Thanks, dudes. I'm out. Thanks, dudes. Is this real fucking life, you know? Like, is this guy really just saying, you know, hey, did a bunch of shit, but, you know, all the people out there who aren't disgusted at me right now, which is a real fucking small amount, you know, I understand that you're upset with me, you know, but I just wanted to say, thanks, dudes.
He's surrounded by bottles.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. I kept them just for this bit of prop comedy.
Massive light.
Nah, definitely not true. Fuck. Made a mess of my floor now. So, thanks, dudes. So, yeah. So, that's the twit longer. Now, here's the thing. I don't really, know this guy, and while I'm disgusted at him, and look, I'm focusing on him, and you'll understand why in a second. Yeah, there was others, okay? We can get into them. Like, we can do whole videos about them. But this is the guy I'm going after, and you'll see why. Because this guy is involved in something I do fucking care about, and that is esports, and particularly competitive gaming, competitive Counter-Strike. So I've given large parts of my life to trying to make that industry a better place. I have given large parts of my life, and indeed my sanity, trying to make this a space where people can come in, not get fleeced, where players earn money that they are entitled to, commensurate to their talents and reach, where things are transparent. I literally I can't describe it. I am incredibly passionate about this. I see an area of an industry where people are ripe for the taking. Young adults that don't have a fully developed social skill set being fucking abused and taken advantage of by wannabe businessmen. I have tried to be a fucking guardian against that for a long fucking time. And now I find myself in a position where while I have influence over the company I work for, unfortunately my influence might not reach quite so much as it used to beyond that. And that's one of the things that I had to wrestle with when I took this job. So this T. Martin is a co-owner of Envious, who we will know as being Hastro or Mike Rufail, his gaming organization. Of course, Hastro comes from Call of Duty, was a very big name and very successful competitor in that space. Started Envious. We know they came in, picked up that French team that was formerly LDLC. It was a very good pickup. He looked around for a while before going with them, and they've had success and barren periods under their tutelage. Recently, he's moved into League of Legends, and I do care about people that do unethical things being associated with teams, because what I did notice was that NBK, for example, has done videos on this CSGO lotto. And I like Nathan. I trust Nathan. I don't think he'd be involved in anything shady whatsoever. He's, as a professional player, he's one of the most, level-headed, nice, down-to-earth guys you would ever meet. And all of a sudden, this irresponsible behavior by his owners, and I include Mike in this, I will include Hastro in this, and you will see why, has put him in a difficult position. Now, maybe I'm giving Nathan the benefit of the doubt there, and maybe actually he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done his due diligence and hasn't looked into this, or even worse, has been told, hey, this is a load of bullshit. We want to reach out now into the CSGO space, and we're going to use you to do it. And look, we can rig outcomes and whatever you need. I certainly hope that isn't the case, because that would really depress me. That would really upset me. I don't give a fuck about Team Martin and what he wants to fucking do, or Syndicate, or any of the other motherfuckers. But I have known Nathan for years. I did his first ever interview in fucking English. So if he was involved in any of this, it would fucking really upset me. And not only fucking that, the fact that he would have to come out now and defend himself from this, that fucking makes me angry. Because the guy I know does have integrity and shouldn't be getting smeared with this shit. And I'm sure he'll distance himself appropriately. So let's talk about the envious relationship. It was revealed that T. Martin was a co-owner of this organization, as well as CSGO Lotto. And when this came out and went to the front page of Reddit, obviously Hastro came out and he said, look, let's all hold our horses here. Let's not get carried away. So I'm going to go through Mike's Twitter here, and I'm just going to tell you, like, how fucking angry it makes me. Because this is a guy, I when he first came into the scene, I went around and showed him the lay of the land. I introduced him to some of the players that he wanted to talk about, prospective candidates to join his team. I've always been willing to work with Mike, and I've always thought of him as a good guy. But this is something else, like something else entirely. And anyway, when the news broke, he said that just like many other CSGO pro players promote skin lotto sites via sponsorship, Envy players have similar individual deals. Don't twist it. So immediately, this is like one of his first tweets on the matter, and he's talking about, there was a few before it talking about, did Trevor make a mistake and stuff, but he's been very clear. These are individual sponsorships that apparently aren't facilitated whatsoever by the organization. Now, again, I believe in plausibility. I believe in balance of probability. Now, is it plausible, in your opinion, Sam, that you run an organization. One of the co-owners of said organization owns another company called CSGO Lotto. That company sponsors a player who is in your organization, an employee of your organization, and yet what I'm supposed to believe is that relationship, that endorsement deal, happened organically, naturally, without anybody having a conversation on an executive level, and was pursued completely independently by the two separate parties.
Doesn't sound plausible to me.
It doesn't sound plausible, does it? It doesn't sound fucking plausible. And that's what fucking annoys me about this. Now, he also was clear to say, also on Twitter, that T. Martin has no influence on decision making. He owns a very small minority and is uninvolved and makes no financial contribution. I don't know if that makes it worse, honestly, because you've given him access to the players. You have allowed this conflict of interest to occur without even questioning it. Like, you have basically given him access to a player with an unblemished copybook, like for nothing, for next to nothing. So he goes on and he says, do I think Trevor made a mistake? Of course. I'm not sure what happens next, but we will address it. He also put out a tweet saying, and hang on, because T. Martin did indeed retweet this, and I want to get that. Let me just bring it up. Sorry, there's a lot of windows open at the moment. So he put out a tweet, and it was retweeted by T. Martin, where he said, in fact, hang on, where the fuck is it?
He struggles in.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I've got all the fucking stuff on the Skype here. So let me just find it. I'm pretty sure it's that one. Yeah, I will also, this is what Hastro said. I will also offer this up. I think T. Martin is a great person all around who just got caught up in a wide open business venture. Again, what a repugnant thing to say. What a repugnant thing to say. You're not even waiting until the depth of somebody's involvement, their guilt, or anything has been truly discovered and divulged. And yet you're going to offer up this appeal to authority by saying, hey, I, Hastro, say this guy is a great person and I will vouch for him. Well, great people don't do things like this, Mike. They don't. And he didn't just get caught up in a wide open business venture. He deliberately lied and misrepresented his product to the customers, to his audience. Nobody has to do those things. You do not have to do that. And yet he did. So to come out and just blindly defend it because you know the guy shows really poor taste and poor judgment, in my opinion. So let's get to the statement that Envious eventually put out. And again, feel free to bring this up on screen if you want. I'm going to read this. So bear with me. It said, many became surprised today at the news that Trevor Martin, also known as T. Martin, is an owner of the skin lottery website, CSGOLotto.com. As many of you may know, Trevor has been a low-stake minority owner of our organization for a couple of years, dating back to a time when our only team property was a single Call of Duty team. Due to the amount of negative sentiment in the community regarding Trevor's involvement with CSGO Lotto, we have decided to offer the following transparency about his involvement with the Envy organization. When our company was just starting to grow into a functioning business, we gave a small amount of equity to Trevor in return for his advertisement and support of our video content on the YouTube network. Trevor had and still has a very successful YouTube channel, and we hope to utilize his knowledge and reach to grow our own channels. However, we did not prioritize the growth of our YouTube channels or social media channels over fielding winning teams and building a support infrastructure for our players. To this day, our organization focuses on competition first, and Trevor has not made any financial contribution or investment into our company. Even though we had little use for Trevor's services, we have always honored his small ownership stake and equity. This held true even when our company has seen monumental growth and Trevor's contribution to the company has been very minimal or completely absent. Additionally, Trevor has never been involved in the operational or decision-making process of our team or company. He is not a managing partner, does not sit on our board, and has a very small minority stake in the business that operates Team Envious. As a company and as managing partners, we have absolutely no involvement with or ties to CSGOLotto.com. Going to stop you there. This is a very carefully worded sentence, and it's true to the letter of the sentence, right? But again, this is deliberate obfuscation. Recently, a few of our CSGO players have been offered sponsorship with CSGOLotto.com among many other lottery-driven or skin marketplace type web destinations on an individual basis. So let's assess this. Your players at Envious have completely independently and with no executive level conversations, no conversations behind closed doors that happened between you and your long-standing friend, such a good friend, Mike, that you have allowed him to have equity in your organization, have honored that despite him contributing absolutely nothing. Sounds like he's a really good friend to me. If I ran a business and somebody had equity in it and they did nothing towards it whatsoever, and I didn't utilize any of their expertise, didn't ask them their opinion on anything whatsoever, I'd probably say, isn't it about time I bought you the fuck out before my company gets bigger and you get a bigger slice for doing fuck all? That's probably how I would look at it. All right? So, I'm supposed to believe that the players from Envious were offered sponsorships with CSGO Lotto completely independently. And not only that, they decided completely independently of their own free will to go with CSGO Lotto and no other service that offered them. And you admit in that sentence there that they were offered those services. And yet they just unilaterally, across the board, all together agreed we should go with CSGO Lotto. Oh, did you go with CSGO Lotto? Oh, shit, I did as well. Fuck me, that's crazy. It's crazy that we both did that when no one's telling us to do that. Isn't that crazy? So either there was some extra financial inducements for doing so, which again, still a conflict of interest, or they were advised to go with them predicated on a business interest. Real fucking slimy conflict of interest, because that is their individual brands being leveraged again to promote a company that we now can see inarguably is far from fucking ethical. So I would hope and pray that if there were any conversations of that nature that did occur, which I'm supposed to believe absolutely did not, and it's all just one big coincidence from start to finish, I would hope and pray that none of those conversations ever came out. Because that lie would be unforgivable. And as I said, I do not believe it. I do not believe that these individuals came to their decisions without any nudging, cajoling, prompting, or even just a friendly fucking conversation or inducement of any kind. I do not believe that. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's just no logic to it. And then, here we go, next bit. At this time, we will fully cooperate with any publisher, partner, or partner we are engaged in business with in order to maintain this position we have dedicated ourselves to all along. Right? So, the first bit's important. We have always rejected lucrative offers from groups who operate unregulated marketplaces, lottery, or wagering type properties, and will continue to do so. At this time, we will fully cooperate with any publisher, partner, or party we engaged in business with in order to maintain this position we've dedicated ourselves to all along. So again, it's okay for your player representatives that go out there and wear the Envious jersey. It's okay for them to have these individual endorsements, but you absolutely will reject lucrative offers from groups who operate unregulated marketplaces. I'm sorry, this is just degrees of separation. This is just deliberately keeping yourself, you're adopting a contrary position, but because you can't be seen to be doing it in a direct linear fashion, you're absolving yourself of responsibility. It's just not right. It's just to say that we as a company will not have anything to do with these people who operate in regulated marketplaces. Meanwhile, we as a company have a co-owner who runs one of those companies. And our players, our employers have sought out individual sponsorships that we did not endorse or have anything to do. Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. Who are you kidding here? It just doesn't ring true. And then the final paragraph. Finally, we ask that our fans and the overall esports community understand that we are approaching this situation cautiously and with care. Absolutely you were. Absolutely you were. You were approaching it cautiously and with care by hiding it, by not declaring it, by not speaking up about it. If envious do, if you do care about these things, why on earth did you not say, round about the time one of your players took their first endorsement deal on an individual basis, why did nobody say to anybody else, hey, we should probably be public about this. We should probably put a statement about this. We wouldn't want anyone to get the wrong idea. You chose not to do that. So yes, you have been very careful. That much is evident from this. We believe that our organization and players do not, in the slightest regard, deserve to be associated with any negative sentiment brought on by the actions of Trevor and CSGOLotto.com. Well, unfortunately, endorsement deals don't work like that for all the reasons that I just talked about right at the top of the show. You can say your players don't deserve any backlash, but when you endorse a product, you have a responsibility to know whether or not it is ethical. It's that simple. There is no getting away from that. That is how it works. And then, of course, they say, thank you for your understanding and patience while we investigate further. Now, as I said, there's a lot being done here to try and keep this T. Martin on board. And clearly, Hastro is trying to put it out there that this guy is like, hey, he's just a nice guy, and he got caught up in it. We all make mistakes. These are the mealy-mouthed apologies of somebody that doesn't want to have to act, that doesn't want to have to cut a friend. Well, I would tell you, from an operational standpoint, I do not see this guy's position as tenable anymore. And don't just take it from me. Again, if you can bring this tweet up, Sam, it's the Alex Garfield one. Now, Alex Garfield, again, people might not know him, depending on how long you've been in the scene. Alex Garfield is the guy behind Evil Geniuses. Now currently works as part of Twitch, where when the GGA, the Good Game Agency, was bought out, and he handles kind of business partnerships and development out there. He actually says, Mike, man, I really respect you. I think you're great at what you do, but I'm disappointed. You've got to ditch this guy. So that's coming from him. And he goes on to say, please don't be like so many others in this space and wait to take meaningful action until you absolutely have to. Take this opportunity to stand for something meaningful. Show us the principles you abide by and set the bar. So, and Mike just comes out and been, well, it's only been 24 hours. I mean, I don't get what you're going to find in a prolonged investigation when all the evidence is out there. The person has copped to it. They have owned up. This person should have to divest himself of any ownership in Envious. And there are long-term concerns for me that we want a clean space, right? We don't want gambling companies and teams to have these ties. And clearly multiple ones do. And this one is public. So now is the time to cut the fucking tie. Envious cannot function as a competitive entity and be taken seriously while they maintain a tie to CSGO Lotto, which is an unregulated, dubious, unethical gambling site. This is not, these are not mutually exclusive. Let's be clear. This isn't a logo on a shirt. This is a co-owner of your organization running a company offering your players individual endorsement deals and promoting unethical and shady practices in this space. They are not, there's no crossover here. You have got to take a stand and you have got to take action. And here's the thing, it doesn't even matter. T. Martin's laughing all the way to the fucking bank anyway, as he said in his own statement. Our number one concern was to make sure this was all legal so my money could not be taken away from me. So he doesn't even care about your image, Mike. He doesn't care about Envious's. He doesn't care about anything beyond his fucking bank balance. So why the fuck would you ruin your brand to stand up for him? Get him the fuck out of your organization. It's not even up for debate. Like, I honestly do not understand what kind of conversation has to happen there. You know, and if you, I don't even get why. How can you be perplexed by the outrage? I don't understand why people are angry. I mean, do you understand?
Obviously. Seems pretty cut and dry to me.
So it's ridiculous. And Also, Mike tweeted, and I just thought this again just shows just you've got to fucking stand up and be counted on issues like this. And Mike tweeted, he said, I think you'll be surprised what other people are involved in stuff like this. But again, don't we learn?
That makes it sound then.
Yeah, don't we learn two wrongs don't make a right as kids? Don't we learn that? An eye for an eye, and we'll all go blind. Don't we learn that? And it's just to try and stand by it, to just try and stand by it, is ridiculous. Anyway, I have an idea who he might be talking about, Sam.
Oh, really?
And I'm going to put allegedly all over this motherfucker. Right? Allegedly. Right? Big allegedly. I think, maybe, possibly, probably, kind of, maybe, allegedly, Mike was talking about FaZe. And you'll remember, because that CSGONews guy, who we're going to talk about a little bit fucking later in the show, he also showed that they were doing something similar on CSGO Wild. Rain was coming out and going, look, I'm just winning. Look at me. And again, terrible acting. No one's been able, as of this moment, to ascertain who actually owns FaZe. But if you look at the fake reactions, it's clear to say that, again, perhaps something untoward is going on. And indeed, FaZe have across the board been very vocal about CSGO Wild. Now, Sam, if you would like to just bring up the CSGO Wild terms of service, I had a good look at this, and so far, all I've been able to really find is right down at the bottom where it talks about, use of our services is at your own risk, blah, blah, blah. And then underneath, just above that, actually, thought this was quite funny. Yeah, we don't do refunds. Don't do refunds. By playing on this website, you agree that you are always playing at your own risk. Meanwhile, we're producing these very dubious videos of us doing fake reactions and constantly winning. It's your own risk. It's your own risk. It's not our risk. It's your own risk. Anyway, law and jurisdiction. These terms and conditions will be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the island of Antigua and any dispute. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, listen. Right? These terms and conditions will be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the island of Antigua, and any disputes relating to these terms and conditions will be subject to the exclusive jurisdiction of the courts in the island of Antigua. What do you know about Antigua, Sam?
No. Is it some sort of tax haven?
Oh, it's pretty good.
It's a beaut.
It's pretty good. I'll read you an extract from an article talking about Antigua corruption, and I'll paste it. I might even put it in the YouTube description so other people can read the full thing. So there's a build up to the history, how Antigua got started and how it became this kind of den, and then it's and then of kind of offshore banks and that kind of thing. And it says, it has been reported that in the early 1990s, quote, scam artists used two banks that have since been closed to steal at least $60 million from people seeking venture loans, and that as of 2001, a U.S. Customs investigation had resulted in the conviction of 19 persons. It has also been reported that several Russian-owned banks operating in Antigua were closed in 1997 and 98 because they were allegedly involved in money laundering activities. Goes on. In April 1999, the U.S. Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, that's the guy down the Four Winds, isn't it? My mate, FinCEN. He's never had a dinner. FinCEN placed Antigua and Barbuda on its advisory or blacklist after a 1998 amendment to the country's Money Laundering Prevention Act weakened the law. FinCEN reportedly stated that these changes threaten to create a haven whose existence will undermine international efforts of the United States and other nations to counter money laundering and other criminal activity. FinCEN also faulted Antigua for appointing a financial sector regulatory authority that included representatives from the banks the authority was supposed to be regulating. In the same month, the United Kingdom also issued an advisory to warn British banks that they should be scrutinizing transactions with Antiguan banks closely. The US and British advisories apparently led a number of US banks to cease doing business with Antiguan institutions. The Antiguan government responded by amending its laws to create a regulatory authority composed of civil servants and provide for the freezing of assets in Antigua of persons charged with money laundering anywhere in the world. Antiguan banks reportedly stopped accepting cash deposits and began following stricter know your customer rules. Stricter.
Yeah,
And then it goes on to say, in 2000, regulations were adopted to extend the Mutual Assistance in Criminal Matters Act to the United States. And in 2001, an international task force found that Antigua and Barbuda were cooperating fully in the fight against money laundering. And then in July of that year, it was taken off its blacklist. So since then, there have been other banks that have been formed which have been involved in illegal activity, and there has been investigations into official corruption in that area. And there's lots to do with Ponzi schemes, for example. That's something that's come up where they've had banks that trace back to Antigua being involved in it, and all sorts of shady shit. Basically, what you will find is that Antigua. I don't think it's where you would register if you had a legitimate and fine-standing business. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're just there for the tax breaks and everything else is great. But I think it's interesting that you would register this business, which I'm guessing is going to predominantly benefit from American, European, United Kingdom users, and yet the jurisdiction is in Antigua, should there be any legal recourse. So something to think about there. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So there was now a lot of this has been deleted and removed, and I'm going to read it from over here. I was making some notes, and I've not really had a lot of opportunity to go through this, and some of it got deleted today when this broke. I think of and again, make of this what you will. I'm not saying FaZe are involved. I'm saying that perhaps the evidence would maybe make it look like they could be allegedly involved. But, I think there's some ties here that could be explained. So FaZe Rain and FaZe Apex visited a mansion in Antigua a few months ago. And people said at the time that this happened that this mansion was owned by the people who run the YouTube channel Top Trending. And this led to rumors of a partnership, and people have been speculating that this could be related to ownership of CSGO Wild. And there's a guy called Sean who has worked for CSGO Wild at some point, and he posted pictures, I think it was on his Instagram, where he was hanging out with FaZe Rain. And there was also a video, I think, which was on Twitter, where they were at the same mansion in Antigua. So if you go to Sean's Twitter account now, CSGO Wild's not mentioned anymore. Pictures have been removed. He doesn't even follow CSGO Wild. So that seems to have changed. Then let me just scroll down here. There were a lot of giveaways, in particular relating to Dragon Laws, which were hosted by CSGO Wild, and there were some YouTubers that were promoting them, and obviously those people that were promoting it also FaZe, which is fine. But now, if you were to try and look up that giveaway, all the tweets about the giveaway have just gone. But there's some YouTubers, not just FaZe YouTubers, but other big YouTubers, saying that they were a part of it and they did this, but you can't find any mention of it anywhere from the people who allegedly set up the giveaway. So basically, there's this close relationship between this CSGO Wild guy, yeah, Sean, FaZe, and we see FaZe doing all these videos promoting this CSGO Wild, and I don't know. I'm seeing people like, I think Sir Scoots tweeted about it today. Did he, saying that he thought Phantom Lord owned it as well? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
And I'll bring that up. So it should just be on the front page of Reddit. So, might have even been deleted, you know, for speculation. Well, anyway, Sir Scoots did.
I have the tweet.
Yeah. So Sir Scoots did say that on Twitter, and again, I don't necessarily know that's true, but again, it begs the question, doesn't it? That if people using the service own the service, how can we say any of this is real? How can we say any of this is real? How can we say that any advertising is a fair representation of what's going on? So here's what I'm going to say to end this segment and move on to the last segment of the show, is that if FaZe do have ties, no matter how slight, to this service, think about your competitive team, think about your players, think about your competitive integrity, and you need to come out and declare this. You need to come out and declare this now, because this isn't going away. People are going to keep digging. Maybe it'll be me in my spare time. Maybe it'll be other journalists. Maybe it'll be mainstream journalists. Maybe it'll be other YouTubers. But it is going to come out. And if there is anything untoward, and understand, I'm not saying there is, but if any of you, and that includes Phantom Lord, a guy I like, I've always vouched for this guy, if you own these sites and you are obfuscating that ownership, denying that ownership, hiding that ownership, you've got to come out and declare it now. Because otherwise, people are going to see you for what you are. And there's no way back from it at that point. Regulations coming anyway. This is swirling down the pan. The best people can hope for is to come out with a little bit of fucking integrity intact. So, speaking of integrity, Sam, because I realize it's been a bit of a serious show today. Not a lot of laughs. Not a lot of things to animate. We got our friend from CSGONews. Indeed. And it's tangentially linked. So, for those who didn't follow this, CSGONews is a YouTube channel that does news about CSGO. And he, for some reason, has taken a very intense disliking to Mo. He has reported on Mo on a couple of occasions. And then just recently, he released a video that basically implied Mo was using some sort of app where you find single women in your area. I'm sure you're familiar with these types of things, Sam.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah? You know which ones, right? You know the ones.
Are we not naming it for a reason?
Why give them free advertising?
Sure.
Pay me.
Like you've had one sponsor and you said, "Lee, I'm going to give anyone free advertising."
Exactly, mate. No. If everyone else is going to be corrupt.
Says the one down in Pepsi's and Dasani bottles. The show.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's good, isn't it? They're mutually exclusive. Dasani's owned by Coca-Cola. So get fucked. I'm nobody's bitch. Right? So anyway, he'd written this fucking, or rather recorded a video about this fucking Mo story using an app to find single women in his area, and the evidence was so fucking flimsily put together and was so easily disproven that it was just fucking so unreal, man. It was so ridiculous. Anyway, this other guy came along called DK. And he recorded a video saying this new service isn't fit for, to be called news. It's lies, it's speculation. They've got a bunch of stuff wrong. He also like criticized him for mispronouncing player names. Like when you've got players like fucking Zipnix and Zipex or whatever out there, I think that can be forgiven. But he did report a few things that were factually inaccurate. But what really concerned me was that this Mo story was clear just out for revenge, because this isn't in the public interest. Mo isn't cheating on his fiancée, but if he was, I certainly wouldn't give a fuck about it, and I don't think anyone would, and it's no one's fucking business. You cannot make an argument that in Mo's position as an entertainer, I need to know what he does with his dick. I just don't. So this really caused me ethical concerns, and of course, this guy went after gamblers, particularly, including the FaZe guys, pointing out some of the stuff I just talked about earlier, and yet himself was sponsored by a gambling company. What was his called again? CSGO Sweep?
Whose? CSGONews, yeah, CSGO Sweep, I think it was.
So CSGO Sweep. And fucking, he even faked reaction videos himself, or it looks like he faked reaction videos. So earlier today, we recorded an interview with him where we have him bang to rights and asked him what he was playing at. Hello there. So this is Jake from CSGONews, the YouTube channel that's kind of been in the news of late, which is never a good sign when if you report the news and you're in the news. I know it's happened to me on a few occasions. And he's given up his 4th of July to do this interview, so obviously I'll pay you due respects for that, because it is a holiday and you should probably be drunk by now. So let's start at the beginning. Obviously, you find yourself kind of in a little bit of controversy at the moment, which is relating to several things, actually. First, the style of your reporting, specifically in relation to stories regarding the streamer Mo Assad. Also, gambling sponsorship, which is a very vogue topic as it happens at the moment, and also just sourcing and reporting of accurate information. So I guess what we'll do is we'll start with the Mo stuff. What's your perception of your relationship, if indeed you would describe as having a relationship with Mo, the streamer?
I would definitely say our relationship has kind of taken just purely a downhill start from the start. When me and Mo were first, I guess, indirectly introduced to one another was through my video on CSGONews, where I didn't expose him. I just brought up the topic of his scandal with CSGO Diamonds. So that's how we first indirectly came into contact with one another. We never have DM'd each other on Twitter. We've never directly spoken to one another, but that's where the whole relationship kind of went downhill right from the start. So there really wasn't ever a good point where me and Mo were on good standing with each other.
So what happened in the aftermath of that? Because obviously the CSGO Diamonds story kind of blew up. I reported on it. It was very high profile. It made it to the front page of Reddit. Thorin retweeted some stuff pertaining to it, which seemed to upset Mo a little bit as well. And of course, me and Mo did like a very full-length interview about it all, and subsequently more stuff kind of came out of the woodwork, as it often does. So what happened at that point? Because you're just reporting the news. Yeah. At that juncture, that doesn't seem to be anything personal. So what happens? Are there any interactions with you and Mo at that point?
So again, never any direct contact with Mo, and this is at the time where I released this initial video about just talking about the topic and his CSGO Diamond scandal. And this is where I think I first really, I wouldn't say got under his skin, but he had his first response to my video. And so when that first video about CSGO Diamonds came out, I just talked about the topic on how I saw it. And obviously, you and Thorin came out with more, longer videos, obviously with different standpoints and researching the topic a lot more than I did initially. But I just wanted to be the first one to report the story. So I made a long video talking about the CSGO Diamond scandal, and I was probably one of the first channels to do so. And that's when Mo started responding, saying, not kind of slandering, but somewhat dissing the channel for being very, very false, having no backing for my information. And this only came out after I initially made that video about his CSGO Diamond scandal, which ended up being, I guess I could say somewhat true. The scandal was, obviously, the majority of my facts in that video were true. The scandal did go on. He did admit to it openly. And it was more so me in that video just touching upon that. And that seemed to disturb him a lot. And this is when he started responding on his stream. So I initially uploaded that CSGO Diamonds video, kind of just, again, not exposing. I wasn't the first one who knew about it. He came out on Twitter about it. I just showed the tweets between him and CSGO Diamonds, some basic stuff. The story did blow up, as you know, and he and his fans really took a disliking to that kind of thing. Now, he didn't make a YouTube video about me in response to my video, but it was on his streams where he started bashing me, not only my channel, but mainly me personally. And this is where the whole relationship between me and Mo has just escalated in a really bad direction.
How many videos have you made relating to Mo or the CSGO Diamond story?
Just two. I guess about Mo would just be two. About the CSGO Diamond scandal, technically, I think just that main one. Okay.
So at the point where you and Mo are having this kind of back and forth, this sort of argument, if you like, in the public domain, he's not even denying what you've reported, but he's kind of attacking the way that it is being reported and sort of your credibility, I suppose.
Yeah.
At that point, what exactly is going through your mind?
So before I had released that initial video, the channel was growing. I was gaining a lot of backing from supporters, mainly younger supporters who didn't want to search, CSGO Reddit, HLTV, esports application. And that's my main advantage for CSGO News. I can pile it all to one short video. I know anyone can do what I do. But my thought process was I had no idea this was going to blow up. It was one of those videos where I just sat down. I didn't have a CSGO News episode for that day, and I was just really kind of angry with the gambling community. As you know, all these people are coming out with big videos now, like H3, so on and so forth. And so I was having one of those days where I was just kind of sick of everything that's been going on in the gambling community. It was obviously some things were being staged or faked in the background. And so I just sat down and made that video stating simple facts, and it turns out that it blew up. Again, I didn't expect that to happen. I don't do YouTube for the views. A lot of people think that I make a bunch of money off YouTube. I really don't. I try and be transparent with my viewers. I don't make too much money off YouTube. I don't do this for the views. I simply took a disliking to how Mo was going about the whole scandal, the whole issue, and so I made the video. And obviously it turned out, it turned out in my favor. I released the video. People liked it. They liked hearing about it. But then again, that's when Mo kind of took off against me.
Can you explain what it is exactly that you dislike about these gambling sponsorships specifically?
Again, there's not a lot of proof out there until you get these big YouTubers involved. But it was just the overview of seeing all these YouTubers. Here's again where you reach that kind of scandal, because I myself have had, CSGO Sweep. I've been sponsored for one video there. But you see all these YouTubers and they're constantly winning on these websites. And you start to think to yourself, to what point are they being honest? Are they being truthful? And so with Mo, it kind of just matched up with timing. The timing of me seeing all these YouTubers have these ridiculous wins on YouTube, and then him coming out and admitting this whole thing, and that all lined up at the timing where I wanted to release a video on it. So the whole gambling situation, it's tough to talk about because so many people are supporting it. I did for a short time. So again, it's tough for a guy like me to talk about that kind of subject when I'm kind of seen as a hypocrite in the area.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, you said you were feeling frustrated. In your video, not only do you talk about Mo having advanced knowledge of roles that were happening on the site that sponsored him, CSGO Diamonds, you also talk about FaZe, and in particular Rain, in your video, saying that he faked a reaction to a video from one of his sponsors. And in a YouTube video that came out just a couple of days ago from a chap called DK, who, as far as I know, has no ulterior motive to be involved. He doesn't seem to be related to Mo. He doesn't seem to be related to you. I have no idea who he is. He had footage of you reacting to winning on one of these websites. And I got to be honest, it didn't look particularly convincing to me. I don't think you're much of an actor. So were you faking a reaction in that video?
Yeah, as I said before, I've been seen as a hypocrite as well, because I was sponsored for that one video, and then again, around the same time, I was calling out people for faking their bets, and people were looking at the footage of me, and again, kind of pulling one of those G2 shocks moments where you thought, oh my gosh, he is cheating in the in-game, that kind of thing. People saw me reacting to this. I did not fake it. I've talked to my web developers. I freaked out when people said that thing about me as well, because it wasn't only DK. I saw his video. Multiple people said, again, this isn't mainly... People didn't see as me cheating in the first place when I first released that video. It was only just after I kind of became a hypocrite after releasing this video about other gamblers that they came back and were like, oh, he must be cheating on his video too. So again, obviously it puts me in a rough spot and makes it look like, of course, I did win. I did go from 50 cents to almost, just over $70. I did not cheat. There's no way for me to prove that to you. And that's the worst part about it, because I can talk to my web developers. I'm close friends with the owners and web developers now. They're willing to come on for a show. They said, Jake, if you ever need us to go on a YouTube video, explain ourselves that we didn't do this for you, we are willing to do that. But again, there's no way to ever prove to people, and that again is where I'm in a rough spot here. Fighting gambling, but then again, I was sponsored by it. So
yeah. So how would you explain the kind of almost coincidental nature then? You yourself have highlighted people that are sponsored by gambling companies, and they win coincidentally.
Yeah.
And your postulation is that they can't be winning legitimately. And certainly, as we've seen with Mo was very open and saying, no, I wasn't winning legitimately, I was faking things. And one of the things you attacked was, you said, well, look at Rain's reaction here. It's not believable. The site test alone would tell you this isn't a believable reaction. So then we look at your video where you're sponsored by a site, you're also winning on this site. Yep. And if we follow the eye test, your reaction seems less than convincing.
Yep.
So how would you explain that series of coincidences? And I get why you're saying, hey, I can't prove it, nobody would believe me, but I didn't cheat. But it does look beyond suspicious. It certainly is the same amount of evidence you used to accuse somebody else.
So in that initial video when I called out Mo, and again, I was in some kind of stupor that day. I was just very angry overall with the gambling community. So I went after the FaZe clan, in particular FaZe Rain, in that video. And so I mainly, with that eye test, I just called him out. And I got called out for just saying, oh, that reaction looked terrible. I got called out for that. So I then again made another repeat and a response video to that with further evidence backing my claims about he was more so supported by CSGO Wild, them replenishing his bets whenever he wanted them to. So I found further evidence besides just the eye test, and I had a response video that it did very well. No response from Nordenstedt on that. He didn't want to reply to that. So again, I had to go beyond just calling them out for their reaction to prove that legitimately.
So can you tell me about the sponsorship deal you have with the gambling site?
Yes.
And how it came about, what it entails, that kind of thing.
So, CSGONews has not been around for very long. The channel obviously took off a couple months ago. It's only been around for about 2.5, maybe 3 months. I was getting a lot of offers from a lot of websites that I, can't even particularly name the whole list. There were 20 plus websites. Then this offer came around from CSGO Sweep, as you guys know. Got to meet the guys. They were the first guys that actually offered to have me in a Skype call, tell me about the website they were developing. And it seemed that a majority of the offers I was getting were for new websites that weren't out yet, which is kind of a sketchy ordeal. But these guys came to me personally, and they talked to me on Skype. They walked me through it. They said, we got a great, unique idea, and it's based off, the old Minesweeper game I used to play as a kid. And so I instantly fell in love with the idea. And again, I didn't expect myself to be a hypocrite later on and not want to be sponsored by a gambling website. But grew close with them. They brought me in. They said, Jake, we'll pay you for your very first video, and then if everything goes right, as time goes on, we'll pay you more based on royalties as well. So initially, I did one video for them. It went very well, but the thing is, the site couldn't handle the number of people that went to the site, so it made me look terrible. But it went very, very well. So for that first video that I did, the one video and only video ever done for a gambling sponsor, I was paid $500 up front once the video was uploaded. After that, go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, do feel free to finish your sentence. It's okay. I'll jump in at the end.
Okay, and then after that, they said it's all on you. There wasn't any base amount for any other uploads that I wanted to do. I did initially promise in those 2 videos. The second video, the payment hadn't been determined yet. But on top of all this, I did have a referral fee for a free 50-cent bet on the website, and I would make 1% of all the bets. So kind of a rev share type of deal there.
So can you see how it's problematic for a website or a reporter or somebody that creates news-related content, which is meant to be independent and free from as much bias as is humanly possible? Do you see the conflict of interest in taking money from a gambling company? Just in general, I mean, that's the first point. Did you understand why that's a conflict of interest, correct?
Oh yeah, it's the number one regret I've had right now for the channel, because obviously instantly makes me a hypocrite, instantly makes me a point of a conflict of interest. And again, one of the things I do regret, I do love the website, but I was young. I didn't know the future of CSGONews. I didn't know what was possible, and I was a little bit greedy. I wasn't making too much from YouTube. I still am not. So it's always a temptation to take those offers. And yeah, I do definitely see the conflict of interest. not something I would advise for any future YouTubers.
And another thing is because obviously I've done a lot of reporting on, you know, kind of shady stuff down the years. I have quite a conspiratorial mind. So you'll have to excuse me if this is way off. But certainly it looks to me that if I was a gambling website that sponsored a news outlet and the news outlet attacked other gambling sites, can you follow the logic here? So, for example, that would be a very good way to make my website look more legit, more trustworthy than the sites that my news outlet was attacking.
I gotta stop it, Rich. No, I don't want to. The CS:GO sweep guys did not ask me to do any of that. No, they would never do that. I can see where you're going there. I can see where you're going.
Yeah.
I promise you 100% they would not do that. Not to make their site look more legitimate at all. That was not part of the plan whatsoever.
So there is no relation in stories you've reported and sponsors.
All the stories I released, actually one of the developers over there is a lawyer, and I actually surprised him. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna upload a video. I know you didn't know about it. I want you to know about it." I only went through it with him because I wanted to avoid legal issues with Nord and Chat. I didn't want to be sued for my video by chance. So I surprised him an hour before I uploaded the video. I did not tell them about it at all. They were all surprised and worried about me, but I uploaded the videos freely on my own hand.
So final question in relation to the gambling stuff. Is this something that you will continue moving forward? Because I understand the frustration. I myself have been a content creator for many years. I've been a journalist for many years. When gambling first came into Counter-Strike and indeed sponsoring YouTube stuff, though I had offers, I had to leave bags of money on the table because it would ruin my perceived impartiality. It would ruin my credibility as a reporter, and we're talking huge amounts of money, so it was incredibly frustrating. But that was the right thing to do. Are you going to continue to have CSGO News sponsored by gambling sites in future, including CSGO Sweep?
You know, again, like I said before, I was immature a couple months ago and a couple weeks ago when I decided all this. I didn't know the repercussions it would have. I will no longer be affiliated with gambling websites, but I do have one more planned video for the website. Now, it's not going to be me gambling on the website. It's only a sponsored giveaway for them that I did promise them the second video for. Again, as you can see, it's going to put me in a rough spot, but I promised those guys to do it. But again, maybe I should check with the community if I should do that kind of thing. But in the future, beyond that, no, I'll only be looking for probably, sponsorships that are more morally correct. So, other types of websites.
And since as you have a obligation still to create this video, will there be any sort of disclaimers or anything on the site? I mean, obviously, if people are watching this, and people will figure it out for themselves, but just for the purposes of perhaps newcomers or people that come across your YouTube videos just by chance, you will be declaring the affiliation, for the purposes of transparency.
I have nothing to hide about the affiliation. But for one last comment about anyone watching about this gambling portion. First off, don't gamble what you're not willing to lose. The more you gamble, the more likely you are to lose. It's definitely not what you see, not what's perceived from YouTube. What you see from your role models is definitely not what it is. From personal experience as well, the more you play, the more chances you have to lose. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so let's move back into this story on Mo that you published on July the 3rd. So just yesterday it was. It feels like a bit longer ago, but time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah, not so much fun over here.
So you were tweeting about it in the build-up, and then the story that got published was on a video entitled "The Stuff About Mo TV That You Didn't Know." And hang on, it's quite a long title. That you didn't know in CS:GO Reddit response. So. In this video, you talk about how you and Mo have had an ongoing dispute, how he's tried to discredit you, he's insulted your appearance, and so on. And then you publish a story which to me seems to intimate that he was using a app or a program which is about meeting women. Is that a fair summary?
That's a fair summary.
Okay, and I'm guessing at the time that you published this story, you were aware that Mo has a fiance.
Yes, I'm aware.
So you would be aware of that. Now, I mean, I guess before we even get into the accuracy of the story, can you explain to me why you believe? Let's say it was true. Let's say you have discovered a high-profile streamer having an affair. Can you explain to me the thought process behind why you believe that's in the public interest as a reporter?
Yeah, this is where I expect this not to go too well for me. It was definitely, I could say, in the heat of the moment. I know, obviously, I don't know if that's a fair issue because I still have the video up there. But it was definitely in the heat of the moment where information was presented to me. Not necessarily do I think that he was having an affair. I didn't mean to instigate that kind of thing, but I thought that maybe he was possibly using this application to, get, I don't know how to fairly word this, local girls to come hang out with him. Again, this is back in January, so several months before he was actually engaged. But this is all, just so people know, this is all very much in the heat of the moment after Mo had called me out several times. I'm sure I'll explain this later on in this interview. But yeah, definitely, it was information that was presented to me in the heat of the moment. Within 24 hours, I had seen the information. I fully believed what I had seen, and I went ahead and published the video. As a CSGO News reporter, I understand it was not CSGO News related whatsoever.
But again, I must repeat the question. Why would you think, I don't know, let's say, for example, the average Redditor would need to know about this specifically, if it were true, of course, which we've subsequently found out it isn't. But what's the thought process there? Why would it be important for those individuals to know?
I guess it all sparked from back in the CSGO Diamond scandal, and a selfish part of me wanted to just. It wanted me to see that people actually wanted. I wanted to show people the evidence that Mo was not a good guy, and I was desperate to find a source for that. Obviously, CSGO Diamond scandal went somewhat in my favor, and then he tore down me personally and me and my physical appearance, and that kind of thing made me even more so want to expose him for whatever it may be. And again, totally selfish of me, not the right move, but that was the thought process was very little.
So, this is a personal question. You're under no obligation to answer it. But could you explain to me what sort of training, if any, you've had in regards to journalism and journalistic practice? Have you attended any college courses, or have you worked in a journalistic position before?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I'm sure you've known that watching a few of the videos. You can probably tell.
No, absolutely not. I don't assume. I make no assumptions, and equally, I would go so far as to say, you don't necessarily need to have studied at a college or a university. It would certainly help if you've had on-the-job training. If we were to go back a few decades, there's some fantastic reporters that have come through that actually just started straight from school with no formal training whatsoever. They were just given an opportunity, starting in the mailroom or whatever, and they got to write some copy, and then they were trained on the job. So I wouldn't even say it's essential. It's just preferred. But so, have you ever heard of a term called revenge journalism? You ever heard of that?
No, I've not. I've not looked into it.
Okay, well, basically, I'll give you a brief summary. It's something that's talked about. You may be familiar with, things like, Gawker and that kind of, horrible publication. But basically, revenge journalism is ultimately when you literally go out of your way to target somebody and destroy them through journalistic purposes and practices, and publishing things about them that don't really have any relevance in the public interest, but you do it predicated on personal reasons, or often, because the publishing house that employs you will have a overarching reason to want that person to be destroyed. So in this case, what we've got here is an instance where somebody said something about you that you didn't like, and then you used your journalistic platform effectively to attempt to put information about them into the public domain that could have very real and damaging real-life repercussions just because your feelings were hurt. And would you agree that's a fair summary also?
That's a fair summary.
So, I mean, you can understand now, I would like to think that is an abuse of your position. Yeah,
that's definitely very well put.
Okay. So here's the next part. Now imagine that when you went out of your way to publish this story, it then turned out not to be true. And of course, actually, that's what happened here. You published something that had that real life impact. It could have very much if Mo and his fiance weren't in a trusting relationship, if there'd already been some doubt there, which I'm absolutely sure there isn't, but if there had been, this story could have been the catalyst towards them breaking up or something worse. I don't even know.
Do you mind if I touch on a quick point though?
Absolutely.
So did you get the chance to watch through all of Mo's video?
Mo's response to you?
Mo's response, yes.
Yes, I did see that, yes.
So you do know that the only thing that he, mainly throughout that video, he targeted the guy I worked with, Wolfie. And all he pretty much said was that what I said was not true, that was a public picture. He didn't touch on the fact that maybe it might have been posted on application or anything further than that. So in my defense, I still believe what I saw. He even went further to say that I went ahead and faked who he was following. I'm no coding genius. I go to school for business and marketing. I'm no coding genius. He changed his argument from I'm just straight up lying, and then he further went on to say he was faking all this stuff. I didn't fake it. So in my own defense, I personally believe everything that I saw Wolfie sent to me. I even went onto his Twitter and saw him following his account. I 100% guarantee you I did not code in any of that. I didn't fake it all. I myself saw him following this account, and I went on to it. When you go on these accounts, you heard Mo in one of his interview response video, you heard his friend say that when you click on that link in her account profile, it redirects you to a random list of websites. He said he clicked on it 3 times. It takes you to 3 different websites. When I clicked on it, or when Wolfie clicked on it, it brought us to that Well Hello app. You search that app's photo bucket, and the same picture pops up. So again, in his response video, he shows that picture where he said hi, and the same thing that was on the public Twitter profile, the public Twitter pictures as well. Same picture pops up. I didn't fake that. I didn't Photoshop that in.
No, I believe you, actually. I have no doubt in my mind you didn't fake anything.
So in my defense, that's how I saw the evidence. That's how I took it. Maybe I took it out of context, but I did not fake anything.
Could you explain the verification process you went through to verify everything that you published?
Yes. So Wolfie not only sent me all the screenshots from his phone, I myself also did the same thing, was redirected to the same Well Hello app, was able to search through the photo bucket of the history, and his photo popped up, which again was screenshotted. I can make another video about doing the same thing, but then again, the account's already gone, but I'm sure I could try and find it again. But
so would you say then that verification process was enough to make the assertions you did in your video?
Again, I'm not expert in this journalism thing, so I guess I probably should have done further research. Maybe the Well Hello app draws photos from everyone's Twitters. If you search hard enough, you can find anyone's Twitter profile pictures or pictures that were uploaded on the website. I didn't look into that. I might be wrong there, but I saw what I saw and I went with it hastily. So yes, you're correct. I could have made a bad assertion.
Also, as well, and look, I know Mo's no angel. I know Mo better than most people. And I know he can be obtuse and difficult sometimes. But did you at any point reach out to him to verify what you found or to get his side of things?
I included him in 2 tweets. I deleted them after 5 and 6 hours each, and he did not respond to either one of them. I figured 6 hours was good enough from two separate tweets, and I figured he wouldn't respond to me anyway. That's what one of his initial responses to my first CSGO Diamonds video was. I didn't reach out. This time I did, tweeted him twice. Maybe he was busy during those 6-hour time periods. Then again, that's on me, I guess, but I don't think he would have responded either way.
I mean, again, just for future reference, not everyone's going to be up to date with Twitter. I often say for large corporations or people that have a kind of infrastructure, it's not abnormal to give them 24 hours to respond. Some people think that's a little bit quick, but 24 to 48 hours is good. Certainly, though, for your purposes, it's always better to do it via email or some measurable form of contact, because what we've got here is an instance where you're saying you tweeted at him, but those tweets are no longer in existence, so we wouldn't be able to necessarily prove one or the other. I would say Twitter's not a very professional kind of format for that sort of thing anyway. And
again, on my end, I didn't even search for a business inquiry email, so again, on my end, that's a pretty big mistake.
Let's talk about Wolfie. This is obviously someone that you work with. Is he a...
Just to correct No, this is one story. He came to me with the evidence, and he was like, "Hey, can I be, a co-reporter?" And he obviously brought me the story, beforehand, before me seeing the results of this video. I was like, "Yeah, you brought me this information. You seem like a great guy." I had no affiliation with what he did besides sending me those messages personally. I know a lot of information's come out, especially in Mo's video, where he was DMing all of his followers, all of his friends. I had no affiliation with that. This comes in an instance where I think he got maybe a little excited that I said, yeah, help me out. And he just went above and beyond. I had no idea. He didn't tell me anything about this until I saw Mo's response. And I had no idea any of that stuff was going on. And yes, it was above and beyond what was necessary.
Do you have a title at CSGO News?
No.
You haven't given yourself a title.
No, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just an average YouTuber.
Well, let's say CSGO News was it was a credible news outlet, and you were the person that was responsible, and indeed you've kind of said you are, for collating all of the stories that go on there. So you do that, yeah? You like look at what's on the front page of Reddit, you go out, get the news, you see what's happening on Twitter, and you gather it all together to make a show.
Yeah.
So what that sounds like to me is you're an editor. I think that's a fair description. You would be the editor, I would argue, in chief. It's quite a lofty title. I've been an editor in chief once or twice. It's nice. I particularly like the in chief part. But you would be the editor in chief of CSGO News. So with that title, which you haven't assigned yourself, but I think it would be reasonable to assign upon you, you have editorial responsibility. So unfortunately for you, anything that you publish on your outlet, the book has to stop with you. So if you use a rogue reporter that's, crazy and gives you a story that's inaccurate or has been obtained in means that are tantamount to harassment in some areas, certainly his methods look, I know if I caught a junior reporter behaving like that, I'd probably pull them from reporting for a while until they'd had some retraining. But unfortunately, it's you who has to accept responsibility for that. So will you be working with this individual again in future?
Again, initial contact with him, he seems like a very nice guy. I mean, I can't blame him. Again, you can't really see people through the screen as they're just messaging you back and forth. Mm-hmm. I have nothing against him. He seems like a great guy. I don't know why he went above and beyond and did that in terms of harassing other people. I don't even know how many people he went. I could
hazard a guess at that for you if you like. I think based on your ongoing relationship with Mo, I think what he did was he tried to find something that he knew would impress you and might even go through your blind spot because he wants to be affiliated with something that he perceives to be a success. Does that sound plausible?
That sounds very plausible, but again, if he does watch this, I don't hold anything against him. I don't agree with what he did, guys, but I'm not going to be hard on someone who's just trying to help out. And
so you're not ruling out working with him again?
No, I don't think I'll work with him in the future, especially not on a story that I won't obviously go over. But again, I'm not going to bash a guy who tried to help me out. That's what, in the end of the day, he was trying to help me out, and so I'm not going to bash him. Blame anything on him. Everything, again, like you said, falls on me. But again, I don't agree with what he did. I'm not going to bash him, though.
Okay. Well, just as a final sort of few questions, and look, I know what it's like to get grilled. It's never nice. So I think you've stood up to scrutiny quite well, and you've answered the questions fairly. A lot of people, saying that your channel's done, it's all over. You're going to have to think about doing something else. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but what's your perception, and what do you believe the future entails for CSGO News?
Well, I was lucky enough to get in this, pretty early. I saw a niche and I saw people needed something. I'm lucky enough to have developed a viewer base that still does support me. Obviously, the next week or so is going to determine where the channel goes. I will keep up with CSGO News, going to keep my personality added to it, going to try and be happy about all of this and turn it to the best. Obviously, next week or so, we're going to determine where the channel goes, reaction-wise with Mo's fans. I understand the hate. Hopefully it'll die off eventually. In terms of future, though, I would love to get in contact. I guess I do have kind of a plan to get in contact with pro players and do that kind of interview thing and bring them on with that kind of stuff. I had contact with Hiko for a short while. Obviously, he has the major tomorrow going on, so that kind of fell through. But in terms of new things, definitely coming to the channel. Obviously, there are going to be a lot more people now trying to do CSGO News, and they can probably do it way better than I can. As you know, inexperience does matter, and having more experience will make a difference. So I'm excited to see other channels try out CSGO News. I'm really excited to check them out and see how well they're doing at it. But hopefully with my viewer base, I can pull in some different types of videos because having that subscriber count does really help.
And just final question. As a learning experience for all of this, what are you going to take from it, and how are you going to improve CSGO News moving forward?
Well, I guess personal advice I need to take myself, but also to any growing YouTubers out there, definitely eyes wide open now, would be don't let emotions get the best of you. You know, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. It took me years and years of making different types of videos to find what I like doing and to find what people like watching me do. And with that, always is going to come hate. Obviously, you know, with certain stories comes different amount of hate, and you're going to learn what to do and what not to do. And this is definitely a learning experience for me. Definitely opened my eyes wide open to what to avoid doing. So it's always going to be a learning experience, and that's what I'm going to take from it.
All right, well, thanks very much for your time this evening, especially on 4th of July. Go get yourself a few drinks and let off some fireworks, and perhaps even shoot some guns or whatever you Americans like to do. And no doubt I'll be in touch with you again in the future.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Richard.
So there you have it. You know, I don't know how much of a lesson he's going to have learned from all of that. It didn't really sound overly convincing. And the key part here is when he said, you know, I'm going to work with, you know, I don't want to say I'm not going to work with Wolfie again. Like, this is a guy who, it still says on his fucking Twitter bio, I'm a CSGO News co-report. I co-report with Legit R's Giving, which of course is, you know, the name of CSGO News. I'm sponsored by Jerky XP and CSGO B. And I've got 9,000 followers. I reckon there's no way. Like, let me run this fucker through fucking CSGO or Twitter audit. There's no way he's got 9,000 followers, is there? There's no way. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That is my fucking point, Sammy Sound. Let me just put him in. You probably done it already, haven't you?
No. Let you do that, man.
Twitter audit. Because I remember when Alicus was doing this. It's like
25,000 followers, and 3 of them are real.
Yeah, exactly. And I was one of them, saying, "Why has this guy got 25,000 followers?" So let's have a look. Let's have it. Yeah, he's had an audit. Oh, he's got a pretty decent score, 90%. Only 500 fake. Well done. So that makes it worse. This guy actually has an audience, and yet he's gonna fucking publish shit stories like that. So I don't know. Just seems a bit weird. But anyway, I'd certainly be dubious about that Wolfie guy. The practices he actually fucking engaged in of just kind of harassing people and like DM me, being like super fucking weird and egregious and trying to find out whether or not Mo's having an affair. His methodology wasn't sound. You know, this guy was fucking unreal in this pursuit of this one story, and it was like clearly predicated on trying to make Mo look fucking foolish. So just watch out for these guys. It's like everything. You got to remember, you know, you have a responsibility to make sure you're getting your news from an ethical source and make sure that your news is being provided by, you know, responsible and capable people. If you support people who don't do that, then you kind of get what you deserve. And to be honest, for me, there's nothing worse than abusing a position of power or influence, or abusing a platform to publish lies about somebody else. It's just unforgivable. And the fact that like the video is still up there in the CSGO channel, Wolfie is still just, you know, got tweets about it. Everything's just that nobody's amended anything. There's not been a retraction, no apology. So I don't hold out faith. Now, I don't want you to necessarily unfollow the channel or fucking, you know, harass this guy or do whatever. He did come on. He did do an interview. He was very upfront about it. I'm sure it's been a big life lesson for him. But equally, you've got to make a decision about whether or not you'd want to support that type of activity. So it's been a den of iniquity. There's been corruption everywhere. lies, scandal, the sordid world of online gaming. So here's what's going to be coming up for you this week, where we're going to continue that thread. Tomorrow we're going to publish, and it's going to be like, well, it might even be tomorrow by this. God, who knows? Anyway, at the point of recording this, I spoke with a lawyer who is involved in something that's pretty big and is going to be huge. And nobody's going to see this coming. So I'm really psyched. It's going to get announced tomorrow morning. And trust me, I think it's going to revolutionize what we're doing in esports. So we've already interviewed him. I can't say too much. I'm under embargo until they've announced. You'll know what I'm talking about, obviously, as it's announced and when the corresponding video interview comes out. On top of that, we're also going to be fitting in time to talk to Rahul Sood, the owner and founder of Unicorn, who is that they're another kind of not a gambling company, but they do like ethical gambling with cryptocurrency and a bunch of other stuff. So that's going to be interesting. They want to talk about regulation in the industry. And Sam, I've even secured Sir Scoots to come out.
Awesome.
And obviously, I never used to agree with his standpoint, but I can see now that
Scoots knew the whole time, mate.
Well, yeah, he
Once
saw
again, you
where
were
this
wrong.
was going.
Exactly,
He saw where this was going.
He's
So,
been here long enough to see the shit unfold. Apparently,
well, it's not even that actually. I will give him credit for this because obviously he grew up in Nevada. So it turns out he might have known a thing or two I didn't. I just had no idea how dirty the waters would get. So I think we'll start with a nice slice of humble pie and we'll take the interview from there. But anyway, so that's what's going to be coming at you all this week. As always, thanks a lot for watching. I'll be back to my regular E-League duties next week. But keep tuning in. There's going to be content coming in the YouTube channel. They have set up my studio. Don't let my bedroom fool you. And thanks for watching the Richard Lewis Show. And thanks to Sam for producing.
wait. Before we go, one
Well,
last plug, I think, mate.
What, for the Audible thing?
Yeah.
It's down there, mate.
Good one.
Rest in peace, Easy.
Yeah, rest in peace, easy. See you.